India's economy is a study in scale. Managing finances across a landscape that shifts from hyper-modern tech hubs to vast agricultural tracts in a matter of miles requires a complex, multi-layered system. Think of it like a giant family business. The central government operates as the head office, responsible for the high-level revenue collection that keeps the entire nation running. The Constitution maps collection powers. The central head office handles macro taxes, while state branches collect localized revenue. Because the head office collects most, the Finance Commission decides how much flows back down to ensure states function. This vertical devolution isn't optional. It's a constitutional requirement designed to ensure states have the capital to fund local governance without the risk of insolvency. The states carry the heavy burden of daily implementation. They manage the grounded, local realities of subjects like healthcare and agriculture, the work that directly impacts the most people. But while the responsibilities of these state branches are massive, their ability to set their own budgets has tightened. They find themselves increasingly reliant on the head office to cover the growing costs of local governance. This creates friction. When the center designs uniform national policies to fill the gaps, they often fail to account for the specific regional needs of a vast and diverse population. This disconnect translates into political tension. State leaders are facing pressure to secure more fiscal space to address their own regional challenges. To understand why these state budgets are under such pressure, despite a growing national economy, we have to follow the actual path of the money. Collected tax rupees are pooled into a central vault, known as the divisible pool. This is the shared capital meant to be distributed back to the states. This chart shows the Finance Commission's horizontal distribution formula. It uses a scale to balance population and land area against income distance, essentially measuring which regions have the greatest economic need. This specific math creates a very real outcome. States that generate the most revenue often end up subsidizing the budgets of poorer regions. For high GDP states, this is a point of contention. They argue their economic contributions are being used to bridge gaps elsewhere, rather than being reinvested in the infrastructure that generated the revenue. This tension between rewarding economic contribution and ensuring equity is testing the strength of cooperative federalism. Following the money even further back reveals a structural detour in how revenue is counted before it ever reaches that divisible pool. Watch the main revenue stream. Before hitting the shared reservoir, the center applies cesses and surcharges, targeted taxes on top of standard rates. The center keeps these funds outside the pool. This revenue bypasses sharing, dropping into a separate central vault. As the percentage of revenue collected through cesses grows, the actual amount of money available for the states to share mathematically shrinks, regardless of what the Finance Commission recommends. This creates a behavioral incentive for the center. Keeping these funds off the books allow them to finance centrally branded programs, projects that are easy for voters to see and credit to the national government rather than the local state. This structural detour distorts the original constitutional design, shifting the balance of power towards central patronage while tightening the constraints on local budgets. The 16th Finance Commission is now tasked with managing this fiscal imbalance. The stakes are high. The states are already navigating the end of GST compensation periods and facing strict limits on how much they are allowed to borrow to cover their deficits. Relying on the same old distribution formulas may no longer work. Regional governments are pushing for a system that moves away from centralized fiscal control. The challenge is to find a way to incentivize states to improve their own revenue collection without abandoning the regions that require the most support. One proposed reform to address this is the performance match incentive. This system keeps the existing equity formula in place to protect vulnerable states, but adds a separate bonus pool funded by the center. This chart shows the mechanics. If a state improves its own local tax collection year over year, the center matches that growth with an additional transfer from the bonus pool. This changes the behavioral economics of the relationship. It rewards states for improving their own local tax efficiency, creating an incentive to build stronger local systems rather than relying solely on central transfers. By aligning these financial incentives, the 16th Finance Commission can turn a source of friction into a system of growth. It's a step toward a model where the efficiency of the state branch directly supports the stability of the entire national business.